Welcome back everyone to this video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how to add ranged XP. This will be more applicable because we want to eventually add ranged attacks and ranged things, right? So let's say you have a ranged class in general, like a mage, for example. This logic would be the same idea. So this will be applicable not just to an archer, as we're probably going to do. It's also applicable to, mages, stuff like that. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we want to do is we want to start organizing our items. So let's create a new folder and we'll put melee, if I can type it properly. And then we'll move our items in it, if I can. Oh my God, is there an easier way? Let's see. Okay, I think I'm just going to have to try to get it in there. There we go. That's a little easier. All right, now let's create another one. And then we'll do ranged. Probably should have capitalized it. Let's do that. All right, ranged, there we go. And now we can create a new item. So in here, we'll create a ranged weapon. And in here, we're going to give, we want attributes. So in order to, we're going to add damage. So we'll give it maybe 8 damage instead. And then for the variables, we are going to put, we want to put weapon type, and then we're going to put in ranged, right? So we don't have that here yet, so we're going to have to do that in a minute. But why don't we rename this to bow and see if we can find one. We can use whatever works in the meantime if we can't find one. Maybe let's try just searching up bow. There's one right there, but okay, why don't we use this one? We can use this one, and then what we'll do is we'll scroll down and we can take a look here. There's nothing to change. For the weapon, it's already selected as ranged. Bullet speed, you can set that as whatever you'd like. For the rest, we're going to set the cooldown to 400. And then the delay before use, we'll use 100. And then this is good. Quantity, that's good. This is just the cost rate, which, I mean, 1 makes sense because I'm shooting 1 arrow. And then I'm going to remove this, so the damage. And now, I believe that is it. Since we don't have any animations, we're not going to do anything in here. And extra is good. So now we can close this. And we now have our bow. But now we also will need an arrow pickup item. So let's add an arrow pickup, or an arrow. So let's add a new item. This will be a consumable item. And this, we'll name it arrow pickup. So this is the item that we'll pick up from the ground, right? Now, let's take a look here. Let's go to consumable. That looks good. Go to bonus. That looks good. All right, I think that is actually it. So now we can just close this. All right, there we go. And now we have our arrow pickup. We should probably give it a sprite actually. See if we can find an arrow. Okay, if not, that's okay. We can just use one of the, let's use one of these wood things, a log. That's probably not the best idea, but it's good enough for now. And you guys can find your own arrow later. All right, now we need one more thing, which is the actual arrow, the projectile. Now, the projectile will need to be outside. So here, let's create a new, sorry, not projectile, what am I doing? We'll do a new folder first, and we'll call this projectiles. Now in here, oh, there's already one. I don't know why I just did that. Okay, let's delete that. And then over here, we'll say new projectile. And now we want to put constant speed. Actually, let me double check that's right. All right, that's right. So in here, what we'll do is we'll name this arrow. And then we'll want to give it a sprite, probably the same one. Or we can just give it a scribble arrow, whatever works. Or maybe we can search up arrow, see what else there is. Okay, let's give it small wood. That one will probably make more sense. And then let's see. double check my, okay, everything looks good here. In effects, everything is good, I think. And in extra, everything's good. So we can close this. All right, now we need to start giving or writing scripts. So the first thing we can do is let's write our script in our homie. So in our homie, we're going to need a few new things. Actually, sorry, before that, we should probably add the things that we'll need right, in the future, like attributes and such. So let's actually head over to the environments, go to attributes, and let's add a new one. So this will be ranged XP. I'm going to capitalize it, ranged XP, and let me just double check everything is good. All right, everything's good. So let's save. All right, now we will also need to go to global variables. And now we'll need to create two new variables, one called loot number. We'll add that as a number. And then we'll also need So now we need last gained XP. So this will keep track of which XP last that we gained. And this one we can just set as a number as well. So it should go over here, yeah. And then we can set it to 0. And then I think that is it, but let me just double check. All right, I believe that is it. So let's close this. All right, now we can get to scripting. So now what we can do is we'll do some of the easy stuff first. So let's go to the bow. So the bow in here, we can add a new script. Sorry, not in here. We'll go to the arrow pickup first, sorry. Arrow pickup. We should probably actually delete this. Go delete script. So in the arrow pickup button, or in the arrow pickup script, we'll add a new script, and this will be, we can just call it on use picked up, right? And we want this to trigger when this entity item is used. Right? Used meaning we hit it, right? We selected it, right? All right, so now what we can do is add a new action. We'll for loop all items in item group. And then in here, what we'll put is item group. And then we can say all items owned by this unit. I think that's good. All items dropped on the ground. Nope, that's not right. Hold on. Here we go. All items owned by unit. There we go. And then we want to select the unit, which will be this entity. So we can say owner of item, and then owner of this entity. There we go. All right, so let's click OK. There we go. So now we for loop all the items in all the items owned by the owner of this entity. All right. Now we'll add an if statement. Now we want to check to see if the selected item is a bow. So in the condition, we will say, we're going to do, well, in the condition, here we go. We're going to do an item type comparison. So we're going to check the selected item. So we can say item type, and then item type. And then in here, we can just say selected item from the loop, because we have it selected from the loop. Click OK. And then we're going to compare it to, we can change this to bow, just like that. So now we're comparing this to the bow to see if it is the bow. All right, and now in the do, we will update, let me check which one it is, item quantity, so this one. We'll update the selected item from the loop, and then we'll increase it by 1. So what we need to do is get the quantity that we currently have and then just add 1, right? So what we'll do is we will go to functions, calculate. This one is just 1, right? So we can just do that. And then this one, we'll have to get the quantity of it. So we have to go to functions and then say quantity or item quantity. That makes more sense. So item quantity of, I believe, selected item from loop again. Here we go. Click OK, click OK. All right, so update the selected item, which is the bow or the arrow, right? And then we'll increase the quantity by the quantity itself by 1, right? So we'll basically take the current amount and then just add 1. All Right now, we also need to destroy this item, right? Because we picked up the arrow. So now we just need to destroy it. So we'll destroy entity, and then we can say destroy this entity, which is a function. So we'll say this entity. Click OK. And then we can add new action and just return. So we'll return without completing the script, and that is it. So we'll save and apply. And that's it for the pickup arrow. All right, so now we need some logic though in our actual arrow. So, in our homie, sorry. So in our homie, let's head over here. Now we're going to need a script called auto pickup. So we'll add this. So add new action, and we can just simply say make player make unit pick up item. And then the unit will just do selected entity, this entity. That wouldn't make sense because there's no loop. So we just say this entity, which is the homie, the player, and then we'll pick up the last triggering item because anytime I touch an item, this script will go off, right? So now we probably need to add a trigger, right? Because otherwise this will never trigger. So we'll say this entity touches item, right? So essentially we'll trigger when we touch an item, and then we'll just pick it up, right? All right. Now we need to add some other things. So what do we need to add? First, we need to add, well, probably the damage. We'll probably need to add the XP. And so what we can do is actually, let's close this for now. Go to our world script. And in the level up, where's that? Here we go. We can actually just duplicate this. So copy and then paste. And then if I hit Control and select this, should, oops, maybe not. Okay, I guess not. So we'll have to just go all the way in. Here we go. And we'll just change that to range XP. We need to change all of these to ranged XP. Whoops. So let's find all of these, change these all to ranged XP. So this will allow us to give us ranged XP. We just simply need to change all of these to, we probably need to add a level. That would make sense. I knew I was missing something. So where is that? Attribute. Here we go. We need to add in here. So we'll say key ranged level. I just realized we actually need to add a bit more in here. So what we'll do is we'll also say we need a weapon type in here. So we'll say weapon type. And this is actually going to be a string. So we'll change it to a string. And the value will by default be melee. And then we'll also need loot chance. Yes, here we go. Loot chance. Now this will be a number, but it will be 10. So 10% essentially. All right, so let's close that. There we go. Now we can increase the level. Oop. Did I not add properly? Let's see. Oh, I might have to give it 1. Oops. Hello. Can't I write in there? That's strange. All right, let me try reloading. I'll republish the game and see what's going on. Maybe that might fix it. Okay, so the reason is because if we go to our player types in the human players, we need to add it in here. So range level, add that in, and there we go. Let me actually check. Did I set it? Yeah, no, we have to set it to 1. So let's make sure that we set that to 1. Now let's give it a try. Let's close all this. Now we should be able to select the range level. There we go. And now we can start changing, again, all these to ranged XP. And now essentially all we really need to do is just change or add everything, kind of duplicate a bunch of things and change things from melee to ranged. So this is the level up, right? So let's make sure that we do the level up first properly. So here we didn't, so we'll get the melee level here. melee level. If you can hold Control and left click, you should actually be able to access it quicker. Sometimes it doesn't work though. It's kind of weird. Okay, it's fine. We'll just do it like this. There we go. Click OK. And let's double check range level. Ranged. Okay, cool. And I think that is good. Yeah, range level right there, range XP. All right, that is for the level up. But what about giving giving XP? Well, we need to go to the inflict damage. And in here, this is where we're giving XP, right? So we need to adjust this a little bit. All right, so let me just pull it up. All right, so now we need to adjust it so that we check for a few different things. So first, what we'll actually do here is we're going to add a new if statement. And in here, actually what I'll do is let's copy this, paste this, and then in here, I'm just going to remove delete. I'm going to delete all these lines of code. Actually, can I delete this? No, I can't. Okay, so we'll delete all these actions below. All right, so what we'll do is if the damage of the last action is undefined, so what we'll do is we'll change this to be equal. Then what we'll do instead is just simply return. Okay, so we'll return if it's undefined. Now, if it's not undefined, we can't do this anymore. We have to check which attack is it, right? Which one are we doing, right? So first, what we'll do is we'll actually take the set variable and put this outside. Okay, so we're going to set the variable attacking player as the owner of the last attacking player outside. So now I can check to see if the last attacking item, we're not going to do item, sorry. We're going to now change this a little bit to be, let's go into here. So this will now be, let me just check. So we're going to do a player type comparison now. So we're going to select the player type. Player type. Oh no, functions. Wait, what am I doing? Let's cancel. Okay, owner. Here, owner of unit in here. Then we'll do attacking. What am I doing? Hold on. Okay, let's go back to the comparison. Okay, player type comparison. That's why I was getting confused. Okay, so in here now we can select the player type, and then we can select the attacking player. Here we go. Now we'll do here we'll compare it to human type, human players, and now we can click OK. All right, so now we'll only trigger this if this is not equal to the player, right? Now what we can do, if it's not the player, then we will. I don't think we have it in here. I think we do. No, right this one, I think. Right, so we can copy this and then so we'll move this over here. So we'll paste this. Oh, I guess it goes over there. Put this to the top. Now what we'll do is this is only if it's not the player. Now what we'll do is we'll move this all to the else. For the else, what we'll do is first we're going to check to see. We need to actually add another if statement. So let's actually do that first. So first we need to check which type of item it is. And we do that by checking the weapon type because we added that prior, right? Now we can do a string comparison. So the string comparison, we're going to get the entity variable. Here we go. And we're going to get the weapon type, which we'll have to add to our entities. So let's actually do that real quick. Let's go to player types. And then let's see, which one do I have to add it into? Let me just double check. Oh, okay. So I lied. I don't know why maybe I'm just blind. We can select weapon type right there. And then we can just go to entity and then just say last triggering, not unit, but item. All right, there we go. So now click OK, click OK. But now for the string, we need to compare it to range. So what we'll do is we'll go in here and we'll say manual input and ranged. So click OK, click OK. And now we have this check to see if the item is ranged, right? Now do remember, make sure that you go into the bow and type it into the string. I think I did this off the recording. So you need to go into here and give it the weapon type string range, right? And then for the bronze sword, we'll have to do the same. So in here, we'll do the same, but we'll give it melee, right? So by default, it's melee. So we'll just save and apply. There we go. Now we can start adding things back into our ranged. However, we can also copy this and let's paste this over here. And let's go this and let's change this to melee. And let's do the melee first since we already have all the logic for that. So let's move this over here. In fact, actually, I don't think we need that check anymore though, because yeah, I don't think we do. Okay, let's not delete this just yet, just in case. But let's just move everything else down. So let's take that over here. So we'll need to check if it's a hostile creep. That's right. And then if it is, we give it ranged or melee XP. And we also will set the variable. We set the variable already. So we'll actually delete this. We also want to set the value of the health over here. Oops. Let me bring it down, please. Oh, I need to move it into the do. There we go. So here we go. We'll set the health. Actually, I think we can do that over here. So we can actually put that outside. It doesn't matter which one because we don't use the XP or level as a calculation. So we set the value over here. We can also create the floating text. So we'll move this down here. Oops. Let's move it below. And then we'll also set the variable of the last inflicted damage down here. Move that right there. So now we have all these outside of the checking of the weapon itself, because that doesn't matter. And then let's double check I'm doing everything right. So we're checking it to see if it's undefined. If it is, return. Then we set the variable of the attacking unit. And then in here, if it is, so if it's not human, then what we'll do is maybe we can copy this and put this in here. So we'll set the variable as the last inflicted damage, but instead of floor, we'll do damage of last. So we'll have to change this to entity attribute value. There we go. And in here, though, we'll have to change this to damage of the last attacking item. So last attacking item. Here we go. So this will do damage to the player, right? Because if this basically is checking if the monster is attacking us. Okay, so hopefully that makes more sense. All right. So now inside of our melee, we need one check, which is this one. So the player, we're checking to see if it's hostile, which is good. And then we'll set the melee based on that. Now this one, I don't think we actually need anymore, but we do need the set damage because we'll actually just move that over there. And then I believe that is actually it. In fact, actually, I should have moved this up here. That was the one that we just wrote. So we can actually just delete this one now. Delete action. And now what we can do is, we'll just copy this. So we'll copy this over here, paste it. Oh, I don't know why I put it there. Actually, no, that makes sense. I copied it there. We'll copy this one as well. And then we'll paste this in here. Now, there we go. So now we only need to change this, though, to be ranged XP. And then change this melee XP over here. Melee XP, here we go. Ranged XP, etc., etc. All right, and that should be it. Let me just double check to make sure we didn't miss anything. All right, that looks good. So now we can save and apply. And we should be good to go. The only issue, obviously, is when I play. Now, actually, there is no issue, I believe. Obviously, the issue, actually, is there's a few. One, you see the arrow doesn't get deleted. which is okay for now. However, we don't have any displays for the level. However, I think if we level up, eventually our damage should change. So let's just keep shooting until it changes. Although I think I have to back away a little bit. Go away. Okay. This should be good, but let's make sure that the arrow gets destroyed as well. So let's head back over to the entities. Let's go to the world. This one is a little easier. So here we can just add a new script. We'll add this over here, and we'll just say that this is ranged projectile handling. And this will trigger when a unit starts touching projectile, and this will just destroy entity, and the entity we destroy is the last triggering projectile. All right, so that's good. Now should be able to save, and this will actually allow us to test a little better to see if the ranged weapons are actually working. All right, so it seems it's not. That means we probably missed something. So let's head back into our items and take a look if we missed anything. Okay, so make sure that we also give ranged XP over here. That probably would make sense. So now we can actually give ourselves ranged XP. However, there is still the issue of the projectile itself. So let's take a look. Let's see what happens now, though, when I play. Let's see if I can level up eventually and do a bit more damage. I think not, just because I don't think that ranged part is ever triggering. So we see that the melee is still working, which is good. Let's take a look at what's happening. So let's go to the arrow here. So this is ranged. So that seems right. Ranged weapon. Okay, so now it actually seems to be working. So I'm not sure what happened. I did try republishing, so that might be what happened there. But regardless, it does seem that we're working now. All right, there we go. And I just leveled up. It seems like the damage is not increasing, though. So that might be a bug that we'll have to take a look at. So let's go into our, I think it's homie, if I remember. Okay, so here we'll have to increase the attribute as well, right? So that would probably make sense. But I think I'm going to leave this for you to do, to be honest. I think at this point, connection lost. I think everything seems good. You will just need to increase the attribute yourselves. Yeah, so you can double check the code to make sure everything works for you. But yeah, that's it. I will see you guys next time.